Tom. Welcome to a brand new week. And also the end of the week. It is Monday. And you're probably wondering, where'd the rest of the week go? Well, this past week I've been at Donna's in the Dallas area there. And the reason for that is we had planned this trip a long time ago, but also due to the coinciding with the unfortunate passing of Baxter, her dog of I believe 12 years at this point. She went up there just to comfort her in the time of loss. So that's kind of why we didn't really get a lot of vlog footage, because there wasn't really any sort of opportunity to get vlog footage. But anyway, that doesn't mean that we still didn't have a good time together. We did watch a bunch of movies. I saw Elf for the first time. That's one of her favorite movies, so we saw that. I personally, I'm not that much of a moviegoer, so we watched 3 or 4 movies while I was up there, including Elf, Death Proof, and what was the other one? Love Actually. And those are all really good. It's really weird to see. When I think of Liam Neeson, I think of him as the sort of badass action hero. So it's kind of weird to see him in Love Actually. There are some pretty funny moments. Love Actually was pretty enjoyable, and I liked how a lot of the characters in the movie connected to each other, despite the fact that a lot of their stories didn't really go along together. Elf was Elf. From a storytelling perspective, I didn't enjoy Elf, but it was a very funny, goofy movie, and I enjoyed it in that regard. And I think that's mainly what it's there for, is to just be dumb, silly fun of what would happen if one of Santa's elves was a human raised by elves who then had to go back to the human world. That's it's a very interesting distinction. Also, didn't know that Peter Dinklage was in it. So yeah, that was that was a very interesting one. And Death Proof was very interesting. I like that the first act was, even though it's set in the mid 2000s, before 2010, but after 2000, obviously. It was filmed as though it was a period piece from the 70s, which was really neat. Very violent, gory movie. But from a movie called Death Proof, I wouldn't have imagined otherwise. Another thing that happened while I was up there is that so part of the reason why we planned the trip around the time that I went up there is because Donna's employers were having a Christmas party for all the employees that worked worked where she worked. So they were gonna try and see if I can get in as a +1. I couldn't, so then the option was there if she wanted to go or not. She did, and I had a fairly good time by myself there. I made some Smash Bros. Maps, and I watched the Game Awards for a few hours, and then when the party was over, went over there and picked her up. I also went to what's that place called? Witch Witch. I love Witch Witch. During that time, so that was really good. And when I went to drop off, so when we went over there, it was me and Donna. We went to pick up Donna's friend Lauren. I think Lauren was on the vlog before. Yeah, she was on the vlog in June or July when they came up here to go rafting. Anyway, went to drop them off. It's like this. The house that the party was at was in this beautiful gated community. All these people had their Christmas lights up and everything. It was just absolutely gorgeous. And then we get to the house of the party's being at, and it looks like a freaking castle. It's made of stone with kind of I don't want to call them turrets, but it was very it was stone with a bunch of rounded architecture, cylindrical architecture, and very. It was a very beautiful house. Well, from the outside anyway. Then I went back, and then I was thinking okay, party's coming to an end here. Text Donna saying do you want to be picked up? She said yeah, come stop on by, and I was cool. So I go down there. She's come on in. So I'm okay, well, come on in. Park, get in there, and it's all of her and her coworkers and employers and whatnot, and some performers too, because the boss man hired some performers. I guess he's got a theater in his house. So they had performers there. Apparently they had somebody who painted a portrait while they were upside down, but the canvas was upside right, and it's kind of weird to say that the canvas was upside right, but she was painting it, so from the perspective of people watching it who were right side up, it looked normal, and the painting looked beautiful. That's one thing I wish I got a picture of, was that, if anything. They had like someone perform magic, they had a ventriloquist, which Lauren did not like. Apparently she hates ventriloquism, so what are you going to do there? And so, like, when I got there, it was just Donna and Lauren and a bunch of their coworkers hanging out. And, it just kind of talking for a little bit and, like, seeing everything that's, like, going on in the house. I felt super out of place because I wasn't invited. So, like, I was just like, but a lot of Donna's coworkers were happy to see me, especially considering that I had just met some of them, like, the night before, because we went to the restaurant that Donna works at for dinner one night, and a bunch of her coworkers were there just kind of hanging out. Played a few rounds of Smash Bros against one of them, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. But anyway, after that, I wouldn't say terribly much happened. We went out to dinner a couple times, went to the Cheesecake Factory, tried to order from the lighter menu because everything at the Cheesecake Factory is just like so heavy, and I just like wasn't feeling that hungry for most of it. Also did some grocery shopping while we were out there. Donna's fridge was a little bit barren, so we got what was it? It was 4 cases of LaCroix. However, we have a good reason for that because they were half off, or there was buy one get one free. So that was the reason we bought 4 of them. Anywho, we did buy 4 of them, and yeah, I've grown an appreciation for LaCroix. However, it is not as much of an appreciation as I had for White Claw. I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but at Ray's party, I had tried out White Claw for the first time, and the first thing that a lot of people who see White Claw like from the outside think is that it's like, oh, it's like that college frat boy, that sort of like douchey kind of drink, but it's really good. Like, it's basically it's dangerous too. Like it's like an alcoholic seltzer. It's weird though. It's kind of like it's a bizarre animal because it has more alcohol than beer. But it's also like it's mostly water and it's like kind of like flavored a little bit too. I don't know. It's one of those things you kind of have to try for yourself. I haven't really pushed the limits of White Claw consumption, and to be perfectly honest, I don't plan on doing that. However, it's a nice little like social drink to have. It's not terribly heavy. I think that's the dangerous thing about them is that they're not terribly heavy, so you can just like keep going and going and going with them. So that's a little bit of a shock there. So anyway, I stayed until Sunday, and then drove back here, and now it is Monday. And what did I do today? I went to the video game shop in that I usually go to, Game Over Video Games on South Lamar, and I purchased some more N64 games. It wasn't too much. I got like 3 new ones, and all of them were sports games. It was like Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest, NFL Quarterback Club 2001, and NBA Hang Time. I can't believe I remember all those because like they're not very notable games. Sports games after a certain time don't become very notable after a while, and at some point it just becomes I bought a basketball game, a baseball game, and a football game, which is basically the United States trifecta there when it comes to sports. I digress. Went to Subway, got myself a sandwich. I felt like treating myself, so I got like some of like the more extravagant sandwiches. I got a turkey sandwich, but garnished it with bacon, and then for the vegetables, I had spinach, tomato, onions, jalapenos. But then I also had them add avocado, and their creamy sriracha sauce, which I love so much. If it wasn't like I don't like cream-based sauces because like I have a tendency to add a lot of sauce to things. So if I'm looking at the calorie count of something and it's like, oh, cool, this doesn't have that much fat or sugar or that much in it, and then I just bury it in sauce, then it's like, well, there goes all that. There goes any of the health value that food had. I just buried in sauce. So they've got creamy sriracha, and I go heavy on it a little bit because I like spicy food, and their sriracha is a little bit hotter than like normal sriracha. Tastier too, in my opinion. That's probably because of the cream aspect of it, though. So anyway, ate that, came back here. Stream? Did I stream tonight? Yes, I streamed Skyrim tonight. Oh my god. I'm like super out of it today. Yeah, I streamed Skyrim tonight. Did a little bit of that. That's becoming really fun. I kind of like started dedicating a lot of the stream to just exploring around Skyrim because I'm in the midst of doing like the Zelda mod stuff. And I've got a mod on my Skyrim game called Relics of Hyrule. What that does is that it adds a bunch of like Zelda items to the game, from like armor and like equipment and things like that, weapons. But it also adds kind of like its own little touch of like a story to it, and like a bunch of new areas. So like Skyrim is like connected to Hyrule through like the world between, and you can go to like Kakariko, but it's destroyed, and you go to the Temple of Time, but it's floating in the middle of an alternate dimension. It's nuts. It's really nuts. So what I've been doing is you find like these tarnished shards, which are either 24 of them, and they're pieces of the Triforce. So I've been trying to find those, but they're like scattered. They're everywhere. So I just kind of explored. I'll probably just end up looking up where they are because that'd be a lot easier, and just to have an entire stream dedicated to doing that. But for the time being, I'm just enjoying moving around Skyrim. So that's kind of the end of the week here. Sorry I didn't show as much of this week as I normally would have, but I don't want to like intrude on like someone's privacy and like show them grieving, because that's not respectful. So next week I think things are looking a little bit more up, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Later.